Hi, everyone. Welcome to We Didn't Turn Out Okay. Today, I'm here with Rebecca Minkoff. She's a mom, designer, podcast host, and I'm sure many more things that we'll learn. Can you introduce yourself to listeners?
Yeah, so my first title, fashion designer, I've had an accessories and fashion lifestyle brand for the last 20 years. I have a podcast called Superwomen with Rebecca Minkoff. I'm a mother to 4. I co-founded the Female Founder Collective, which is a community and education platform for founders. I'm an author, best-selling author of Fearless, and that's about it.
That's a lot of things. I actually knew about Female Founder Collective and was like blown away by the community, and it's incredible. I mean, something that I just learned about you being a podcast host for 7 years now is that you've kind of, I think your pattern is being sort of like ahead of the curve with things. What can you say about authentically trying things before, it might already be out there? Like, how did you think, I'm going to start a podcast 7 years ago?
I mean, I actually had wanted to start it even earlier than that. I just felt like I always sort of have I call them like opportunity tentacles out for what's coming in culture and what might come next. And it felt like podcasting was that. You were beginning to see people are reading less, sadly, but they have more time to listen to things. And so for me, I thought, there's got to be a better way to give a platform to the women I'm interviewing in my store. Like we had a store, I was doing a lot of events and I have a great network. And so I would bring them in and great, we would be at capacity with 70 people. And I thought there's got to be a way to take this. And I was like, is this a Facebook Live type thing? Right. And then I thought, what, I think it's moving into podcasts. So that was kind of the impetus for launching that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, not only that did you see it being sort of what was up and coming, but also you felt like, okay, I have a voice that people want to hear and I have things to say in this like conversational way and amplifying that.
Yeah. And I think that was during, I hate saying like the girl boss era, but I also wanted to peel off that layer of we can do it all and everything's great.
Right.
And I was like, we can't do it all at the same time and everything is not always great. So in starting it, it was really telling these stories that every woman has is like, what are the hard times? What are the lessons you learn to like get back up?
Yeah. Where didn't you turn out okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Along the way, I mean, because you've done and accomplished so much, were there moments where you're like, I made this happen? Did you have moments like that? Fearless, the book you wrote, best-selling author. Like, was there a moment then or before that you're like, wow, people want to hear what I have to say or read about it?
Yeah, I mean, I released the book during COVID and our launch event was virtual. So the fact that we had 5,000 people tune in on Zoom to an event that I knew I couldn't just draw 5,000 people. But I brought women I admired into the fold. So Bozoma St. John, she's most known for being a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills. But before that, her cred is she's an incredible marketing and branding expert of Netflix, Uber. She has a TV show with Jimmy Fallon now. So I had her on and I interviewed her. Jessica Alba came on and I interviewed her. And so I had, this roster of women that inspire me, Amanda Klutz, to help me launch. And that's how we got to have so many people. But when you're done with that event and you're doing it remotely and there's so many logistics and it's complicated, and I was like, I can't believe we just did that. We pulled that off.
Right. Yeah. And although there's pull from these people who inspired you, I feel like there had to have been a level of I have something to say that can help people and confidence there to put your voice on paper, right? Like, Fearless is your story.
Yeah. Fearless is my story, but it's a business book. So it's my story, but here are the lessons I learned that you can put into your business. So it's kind of the new rules, I think, for success.
Yeah. One of my questions today was going to, maybe later on, but I'll ask it now, was what does success mean to you?
Success changes. The definition of success has changed for me over the years. The first definition of success is I don't have to call Chase Bank to see if I have enough money to go out to eat. Then success is when all my friends are like, let's split the bill. You're not like cringing inside because you only had a salad. Then success is I can actually leave the city and take a vacation, you know? And that keeps going. But I feel like in the last several years, my benchmarks of success are less and less about financial. It's really all about headspace and being present and being able to have time for me with my family. So the fact that I can be fully present during a vacation and not be stressed out about work, to me, is success. And that's taken a long time to get to. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years. And so to me, that's what now I define it as.
Yeah. Yeah, that resonates so much. I mean, you shared initially what success meant to you. So it's sharing a little hint at that you have been there where you've had to call or make sure that you had funds to go out for dinner, things like that. So how did you start this like empire, this like fashion house with, you know, that experience?
So I was working for a designer. I moved here in 1999. I worked there for 3 years. I kind of launched my company on the side, and it was T-shirts and apparel. My first store was a store like 2 blocks from here called Michael Sin, and he took my stuff on consignment. It wasn't a consignment store, just to be clear, because someone messed that up before. He took it like, if it sells, I pay you.
But you were like seeking out like a manufacturer, like you were just.
I was making everything myself because I'm trained in pattern making and draping and sewing. I did it since I was 8. So I was making everything. And when the orders got big enough, I found a Japanese man in the garment center who was a chain smoker, and he was like my extra hands.
Amazing.
And so for the first 4 years, it was apparel. And I funded that through being a stylist. So I would style for big TV commercials. I'd get paid about $1,000 a day. So I'd work a couple days a month, and all that money would like barely pay my rent and then cover the cost of fabric.
And you always believed in it. Like you believed in the thing, obviously, the things you were creating, but did you feel like there was a gap or there was just something in your taste and creativity that would be sellable?
I think it's a mix of both. I think it's a blind passion, naivety of like, I am excited about what I'm creating and I want to make other women excited.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I had a friend who was in PR, and I had a friend who had like the first of an e-com experience. Because again, let's go back 25 years. And so he would call me and he'd say, Teen Vogue is looking for terry cloth jumpsuits. Go. And I literally would go up to the garment center, buy the fabric, make it. Then we'd put it up on my friend's website. So the 3 of us were like working as a team, where he would literally tell me what they wanted and I would give it to them. And then they'd have exactly what they envisioned, but with my design idea.
Right.
So that really helped.
I remember you sharing something about like a bag and, you know, when founders share, you know, the things they did along the way. And I remember stories of that sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the bag was an actress who I'd made clothing for. And she said, do you make bags? And I just lied. I knew where to get a bag made. And I knew I was capable of thinking about and designing a bag. And I was like, of course I make bags. And that was really the birth of like the brand as we know it today.
Right. Yeah. I forgot about that story. So I was like, how did you know bags? I mean, I'm asking this because I think at least where I'm at is a lot of, you know, being focused on the passion and not sort of the rewards, whether it be monetary or like once I get that accolade or accomplish this, you know, I think I really believe in the authenticity of that like you get to wherever it is you're meant to go by not focusing on that. So when you were saying how like there were times where like you had to focus on financials, things like that.
I think when you're young, you don't have kids, you don't have a mortgage, you don't have like excessive debts. I didn't go to college, I didn't have a debt. There, like, you can live on very little, first of all. And I think that when you're building it, like to me, that's the reward. That's the excitement. When you call Michael Sin, you're like, did it sell? And he's like, yes, I sold. Come get your check for $30. It's like the most exciting thing.
Yeah.
You do have to worry about money eventually if you want to
of course
not eat salads and ramen.
Right. Yeah. The reality, right? And that's why it's so hard to stay true to that despite, you know? And so Yeah, did any of that origin story, I mean, I'm sure, yes, lead to Female Founder Collective? Just things that you wished you wanted to unlearn? Were you like, I want to share kind of my knowledge of a founder with other founders?
I think I launched Female Founder Collective in my podcast kind of around the same time. And what I was finding is there was a lot of conversation about wage inequality, the gap, how long it's going to take us us to have equality. And we would all speak about it on big stages and then leave the stage. And then I'm like, no one in the audience got a raise because I spoke. No one changed the trajectory that greatly because I sat there and like said how awesome I was. So I thought there has to be a better way. And I think my direct path to that wasn't Jane making 20 million as a CEO. It was founders all doing better. And so there needed to be a community. There needed to be education. You're not going to go back to school, 5 years in when I don't know how to look at a spreadsheet and manage a profit and loss or a balance sheet and understand it. I'm not going back to school. But if I had had my community that we co-founded, Allison Wyatt and I, then maybe I could have just taken a 90-minute Zoom and gotten the basics.
Yeah.
And so it was about providing that framework to other founders of like, okay, you have the product, you have the passion, let's make you successful in your business. And then to me, if you're successful, you'll give people good maternity options, you'll pay them more fairly, and we can sort of make that gap close with more women being successful.
Right. Like sort of from the ground up. Do you wish that you had someone to help you with Excel sheets?
Yeah. Well, I got myself $60,000 in debt before the bag came out because I could not manage. And I didn't know how I'd pay that back. That was like an overwhelming amount of money to me with what I was bringing in with my business. And when the bag started to have success, I called my dad and I was like, can you give me a loan or something? He was like, oh, hell no. So let your brother help you. He's a fantastic businessman. So that's who came in and kind of took over that side of things, which took a lot of pressure off me in terms of having to know that stuff. Now I know it, but back then I didn't. And I didn't want to know it for a very long time.
And I was going to ask if there were any like mentors or models or partners, role models, things like that. Did he do this as your brother or more like he believed in it too, or both?
I think as a businessman, he saw an opportunity. And I think that in the beginning, it was like, oh, I'll help my sister out a couple hours a month. And then as he saw it like scale and like the heat around the brand at the time, I think he's like, oh, this is actually something. So the couple hours became a lot more. And then he was traveling up here. He commuted from Florida to here for about 3 years. He would do Tuesday to, Friday or something crazy. And then he moved his family up here to really go all in on the business.
I was going to ask if there was any level of like sort of imposter syndrome. You said you didn't go to school. Not that, I see that as any, reason to, but were there times where you're like, why are people buying from me?
I didn't have that. I definitely think that if I had gone to school, there's things that probably I think anyone who goes to Central St. Martin's has an experience and a depth to their artistry that like clearly is like unmistakable. I never had why are they buying from me because I think that my product stood out and I knew it was good enough and I knew with the response that it was good enough. I've definitely had it, but I also hate that these labels are created after and then they're thrown at us and then we believe them.
Yeah.
And
we're like, oh, that term exists. Then we like start to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like no one ever used to be like, I have anxiety. Do you have anxiety? Oh, I suffer from it. Like, again, it was a label like, yeah, you're allowed to be nervous about things.
Right.
That's normal human behavior. Or you're allowed to feel not confident.
Right. Or doubt, and then look at doubt and be like, no, I see you, but you're not going to overcome. Yeah.
So I think that's being human.
Yeah.
And then we bring it on as a label and then that defines us somehow or makes us less.
Right.
I've definitely been in rooms, I walked into a very small dinner. I thought it was a big dinner. It was like 13 people and it was Al Gore, head of like NASDAQ, like really big business people. and me. And I was like, why am I here? But it was more like pure curiosity and like, then I'm not good enough. I was like, did someone make a big mistake? So I just feel like now my approach is like, if I'm being invited, I'm meant to be here.
Yes.
And I want to make that person's risk on me be worth it.
Yes. I want to pause there. I often do this because I think so many of us go into events or meetings or things like that and try to figure out like why we're there sometimes, or like, oh, maybe or maybe this is me projecting, like, oh, that person probably invited that person and then me, you know, and it's like, why, if we're invited, we're meant to be there, even if it was like a mistake and we somehow like slipped onto the list. Like, I really believe that you're meant to be there if like you're there. Yeah. Why do you feel like that was, I mean, not why were you there, but what was that? Just talking business with all these like politicians and.
Well, I do know for a fact they needed a woman there too. So I was part of that was D&I. But also she wanted someone from fashion and I was the first person she thought of. So I think that between needing a woman and being me, she was like, oh, this checks 2 boxes. Yeah. But I was like, let me take it. This is a huge opportunity that if I sit back and be like, I'm not good enough to be in the room, then I'm losing out.
Totally. And for listeners, like all these questions are out of curiosity because I find you so intriguing and inspiring. But also I feel like it's me sort of digging like, where didn't she turn out okay? Because
I didn't turn out okay in a lot of places. We can go to the.
No, I'm more, like just, I guess, you know, there's so much in the questions I asked that, you know, sort of scratch the surface of it wasn't always perfect. And yet here you are because you like continue to believe in whether it be resilience or grit or just confidence. And it kind of embodies all the things I'm raising 2 girls that I want them to have. And, you know, when I see signs that like, you know, they're feeling, you know, insecure about something, whether it be a drawing, things like that, I get triggered because I'm like, no, I want them to like hold on to all those things. You have 4 kids. Yeah. So can you share a little bit about, you know, what you in your whole story like really want to like pass to them?
Hard work, that you have to earn it. I'm very strict about like my hard work and your dad's hard work gives you a good base. Mm-hmm. But this is not coming with you when you leave. And also within the household, you don't just get whatever you want. You know, it's like, we just came from a vacation. And I guess a good example is to do the braids and the hair is $65. And I just said, you can pay for it. Like, I'll give you $10, you know, and it makes her want to work for what she wants, but also it makes her an incredible negotiator. You know, like the poor man there was a guy selling Labubus at the airport. And she negotiated him down to a point where he was like, just take the thing. I'm sick of you. And I was like, that's an amazing skill that now she has because all she had was $10. I was like, you got $10, figure it out. I'm not paying $35 for a Labubu. And she did it, you know? So it's just like, I say no a lot. And I'm like, how are you going to earn it? Or here's the base. Anything above this, you figure out. And it makes them these like little entrepreneurs.
Yes. I love that.
That's what I wanted them to take on.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like because you know the costs of things to make.
Maybe. But I just want her to have that like I resented my mom, but when we moved and I got an art teacher because I wanted to learn how to sew when I was 8, and the art teacher's rates was like $30 an hour. And my mom was like, well, I'm only paying $20, so you have to negotiate with her. And I'm like, I'm 9 years old. Like, I can't believe you're making me negotiate with her. Shouldn't you do this? And she's like, no, you're the one who wants to do it. And that sucks, let me tell you, as a kid. But I'm now passing it on because it's like at the end of the day, it's these life skills.
Maybe at like a more age appropriate time. But I love that. Like, I never would have thought that it was coming from a place of like, you didn't feel that was okay, but yet you took from it. Yeah. Applying it to your kids in a way that does feel okay. Yeah.
Yeah, or just like even when I wanted to go to camp, she's like, great, you fill out the forms, you submit the registration, you do all the things. Mm-hmm. Or like anything I did, that was the vibe.
Yes.
And now, like, when my daughter's like, I want to have a birthday party, I'm like, great, you want to plan it? And even this last time, she's like, I'm planning my birthday party. I've got it all figured out. You just have to like pay for the goods.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And you know, we could even apply this to, you know, when we forget their water bottle at school. I just use that example because we've all been there, you know, like, and then we're like, oh, I have to go drop it off. Like, they can figure that out, right? At any age, truly.
Yeah.
And that's like a small example of these like bigger picture things where, yeah, we can't, as a mom, I think often we're like, no, or at least I sometimes am like, oh, but if she doesn't have her water bottle, it means like I'm not being, you know, the best mom and like remembering all the things. And I've quickly learned, you know, that that's actually not setting them up for success, right? Like, plan your birthday party. Eventually you are going to be planning lots of things, right?
Yeah.
And why not start now? Or you bring X to the plate, I'll bring Y. Let's do this together.
Yeah.
I think is such an important lesson. And are there things that you, maybe I asked this before when it came in terms of like what you've created business-wise, but that you feel like you've had to unlearn to not practice with your kids? Like, this was something that you didn't have to unlearn. You just were like, oh, I like that, but in this way.
I think it's not really the answer to the question, but it's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
I had to obviously clean my room and we had to do our own dishes and we had X amount of chores. And I feel like at the end of the day, I can't get to the chore portion with them. You know, like if my daughter's room is a mess, I'm like, well, it's a fucking mess. And if she doesn't want to clean it, she's not cleaning it. And I'll make her do it before a friend comes over or something like that. And I think that sometimes I'm just like, there's only so much I can control. And do I want to spend my time with them? Like, you have to do dishes twice a week and then I'm redoing it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely ask them to contribute to the family, but then there's things that I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to have you do the laundry. I'm not going to have you do the dishes because you can't do it well. And I'd rather pay someone to do it at this age, you know, like,
right.
But then there's other areas where I'm like, watch your brother or take in the groceries. So I think I've learned to relax on the things that were so hammered into me, like must do the laundry, must clean your room, must do the dishes, that I'm just like, I can't do it.
Right. Even if it sort of feels like you're like dropping the ball from what like I'm hearing from you, but you're not, you know, it's like I think you are prioritizing, yes, you want it a certain way, but also like how you want to spend your time.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which leads to balance. I mean, with 4 kids and you running all these things and doing it so, you know, well, how do you find that balance? I mean,
I don't believe in the word.
Okay.
That is another word that was made and only aimed at women to make us feel like failures. Right. So men are never been asked that question.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's about work-life integration. I write about it in the book. It's literally like, if this is your dream that you're working on and you have a family, how do the two intersect?
Yes.
And so for me, it does involve sacrifice. I'm not going on girls' trips. I'm not having girls' dinners. I'm not like having date nights as much as I want.
Do you want to do those things?
I'd love to, but I refuse because that's one less night I'm with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to go alone with my husband on a vacation. Don't do that either. So I think there's areas that I know I'm like, okay, this is a season. I have young kids. I'm either with them or I'm working hard and I'm out or I'm traveling. And then when I was traveling a lot, like when I would go see the factories and go to Asia, as long as they were a baby, they were coming with me. And for a lot of people, they wouldn't be up for the lack of sleep and the jet lag and the waking up baby and whatever. And I was like, well, this is how I'm going to do this because it's the only way that I'm willing to leave for 2 weeks when I'm breastfeeding. And so they've all been to a lot of places. And I look back and I'm like, I don't remember not sleeping. You know, I remember that I got to be with my baby in Korea and China and London and Paris, and like they'll have those memories somewhere.
Yes.
So I think you just have to figure out how you work your family and children into it.
Yes. And do you feel like that's played a role in how they see work in your family? Like not pulling you from them, but sort of like, what's your answer to that?
right now they feel like I am working too much,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm being honest. They are definitely like, you're leaving again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard. And I'm trying to remind them, I'm like, hey, me leaving means the following, like we get this vacation, or I'm going to be taking off the whole week of Thanksgiving, or 2 weeks in Christmas I'm taking off. So I think, or Hanukkah. So I think I'm trying to remind them, like, this is what you get from when I have to leave and why.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, can we come with you? Can we come with you? And I'm like, well, you just missed school for too many times, or, and sometimes I do bring them along. Like I just brought my kids for Fashion Week because it was a whole inspired by my sons who play basketball. So they got to come and experience that with me. So when it's appropriate, I'll bring them and try and, again, like, this is what I do, guys. See why it's, you can learn from it and like how it's benefiting you.
Yeah.
On the other question, the prior one, I also can have more integration, because I'm 20 years into my business and I have a village.
Yeah.
I have a great team at the office. I've made a great team. My husband is my teammate. We have someone that helps keep the house clean and picks up the kids. So it's not like she does it all. Like, no, I don't do dishes anymore and I don't do the laundry anymore. Like there's things I've just said, okay, I'm going to pay that and I can do that now in my advanced age. Wasn't always like that by any stretch of the imagination, but I've built a support network, and that's also how it can be done. Is like we used to have villages, right?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Who's your village? My mom is part of my village. Like all these people are like, oh, you're out of town, I'm coming over to cook dinner. I'll take the kids to this.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so great for kids to be able to be open to other people, stepping in and having those attachments to others that I've learned along the way too. In the beginning, I also brought my kids everywhere, and it was really hard for me to lean on a village, it's so healthy for all of us. Do you feel like there's areas, if we're steering away from balance, because I agree, do you think besides chores that you feel like there's things that you have to drop the ball on? Not like, oh, I can't be at everything, because obviously we can't all be, but where you're like, my time spent with them, I'm just gonna, pop in the chicken nuggets if you are doing the meal or something like that you feel like you've had to kind of let go of.
I mean, listen, I would love to be like those home chefs where like everything is like, I've secretly added vegetables to the mac and cheese.
Oh my
and to
God,
the
I am
lasagna
not that
and
person either. I don't know why I leaned into food, because chicken nuggets are a norm for us.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? We're getting our chicken nuggets from Butcher Box. These are healthy chickens, and it's not KFC.
Yeah.
So I'd say like I'm not like I wanted to puree all the baby food and I want to do all that stuff, but like not possible.
Right.
So I'd say they eat within the house. It's pretty healthy. I try and have everything be organic or grass fed or gluten free, and then I know that whatever possibilities and combinations of that, like they're going to be okay.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, like where you've learned to like let go. Yeah, I definitely let go of purees after like one weekend.
Yeah, or like I raised them all for the first year paleo. But then once they're a year and they're seeing their sibling eat like pasta with Parmesan, I think that my 3-year-old is made of just pasta, like zero protein in that boy's diet. Somehow he's okay. So like, I'm just like, okay, I survived on Lender's Bagels.
Oh, me too.
And Nesquik, okay? And mac and cheese. And I'm okay. So I think, that's what I keep telling myself.
Oh my God, we grew up in the same kitchen. Yeah. Were you around others, thinking of just the influences in our life? Were you around, were your friends out there being founders or starting things?
No, not at all. Not growing up. My mom was probably the best example of that. In the 80s, the big company was called Amway, and it was kind of like Mary Kay, like women at home being empowered to sell products. And so I would watch her be in our garage selling these products via the phone and taking the orders and shipping them, or she would go to the flea market and sell things. And so I think that kind of, I never looked at her and said, I want to do that, but I think it seeped into me, this entrepreneur mindset.
Did you always think that would be your path?
No, I mean, at a young age, I didn't really know. Then I wanted to be a dancer for a very long time, and I was very serious about it. And then I had my like, I'm never going to be that good. Like, I'm never going to be Missy Copeland. Let's just have an honest come to Jesus moment where you were like, nope, not in the cards for me.
It's so sad when
And
we
then-
have that. I thought I was going to be like Nadia Comaneci, gymnastics. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, not me. But
Right.
what else?
What else?
What else am I good at, and what else do I love? And for me, that was design.
Yeah. And when your kids see, they know you work, but do they know, and they know this is your own business, do you think they know what like being, maybe not the word entrepreneur is, but that mommy used to run, make things herself, and sell? Do they know that story?
They know the story. Yeah. I don't think they quite understand it because the
Right.
world is so different now.
Totally.
But I think they get that, like, I started it with nothing, and I make sure to make, it's like when my parents are like, I used to walk 5 miles on the ice. I'm like, well, I used to have to sew things myself and go downtown and sell them. Like, they're just like, ugh, here she goes again.
Right, right. And when you said, I mean, I thought it was interesting when you said, they say like, you're going away again, and you're like, yeah, this allows for that vacation, or I'm going away now so that I can take 2 weeks there. Do you always have sort of like a response in that way? Like, is it ever like, two things can be true. I love work and love you, and I can do both?
Yeah. I have to get better about that. There was a long period of time, not recently, that I hated leaving them and I didn't want to go.
Right.
And so it was hard for me to say, I
Right.
love what I do and I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read all these things like, you should never say you
Right. But,
hate what you do. But for a decent period of time, I was not happy at my own company. Now I do love it, but I think I got out of that habit. So
Right.
you're reminding me that I need to be like, 2 things can be true. I love you and I love what I do. I'm going to do that the next time.
Yeah, it just came to me now. No, it's so hard. I mean, just this morning we were rushing and I was doing my hair and they were like, why aren't you helping us get dressed? I'm like, mommy has to work today. Even something like that, mommy has to work. I was like, wait, why? I mean, I do, but you know what I mean? Like, even the way we phrase things.
Yeah, I
just
have
has
to get
had
out
me
of that habit.
Thinking,
I
right?
always
so
say that.
I also have to. Yeah, it's almost reflexive. Even if you do love what you do, I think sometimes it's, brings up guilt to be like, I love doing something that keeps me away from my kid. It's just that whole, struggle. So
It's a struggle. I'm going to take that out of my vocabulary. I have to work.
Right. I need to
I want to
also.
leave you, okay?
Yeah, maybe that'll help people listening when I was going to ask if you feel like there's anything as a founder and mom that you'd like to unlearn. It could be something like that, but that you would want others to. I mean, it so naturally was woven into your conversation. Like, you don't like the word balance, imposter syndrome, and these labels. Is there anything that I didn't touch on that you're like, I really want female founders to know?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ask you the same thing about moms.
Well, I think my tip would be for female founders who are moms.
Yeah.
With my first 3 children, raising them at the height of the most stressful parts of the business, like bath time was like my body was there, but my mind was elsewhere.
Mhm.
When they would be like, Mommy, lay with me, I'd be like, oh my fucking God, go to sleep because I have to get back to work. And that level of stress and ugh, or like replying to emails on the weekends or nights. 5 years passed since I had then I had a baby and we'd also sold the company. I'm still there as a happy employee. And raising him has been a completely different experience because I just said, this is my last kid, I think, pretty sure. I'm going to do it differently. I don't want to be rushing bath time. I want cuddling to go on forever.
Yeah.
And I sort of am regaining back what I missed in those moments where my body was there, but my mind was not. And so I would say to other women, like, in hindsight, answering those emails on the weekends did not get me successful faster, or not being present for bath and bedtime didn't make a deal not happen.
Mhm.
Like, be as present as you possibly can. And if it means that your business grows like 1/4 of 1% slower,
It's worth it.
It's totally worth it because these guys are growing so fast.
Yeah.
And I'm determined to not ever have that be taken from me again. And even last year when I did my ill-fated reality TV appearance, the anxiety took my attention away from them, you know, every week when it would air and like, what's going to happen? What shit are people going to say now? Like, and I was like, it's being taken from me again. And how can I get it back? You know, and I felt that distraction. So now I'm like, I will say yes to nothing that'll give me that again.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Did you realize in those moments, like, oh, I'm not going to get this back, or it was a hindsight thing?
Once I had my fourth, that's when I was like, oh, I thought I was so present. That's the thing, is I thought I was present. But it wasn't until I'm sitting there at bath timing, like, I'm the dumb animal and I'm not thinking about anything else. Oh my God, I've never done this before, you know?
Yes.
And then it's like, you want to lay for an hour to go to sleep? Oh my gosh, I have all the time in the world.
Yes.
And that's not because I sold my company and it's because I just was like, nothing
aware.
is more important and no one needs to hear from me at 9 p.m. at night.
Yes, the awareness.
Yeah.
And before we say bye, just because I can't believe you're saying this right now, yesterday I had one of those moments where my girls were like, please lay with me. And I knew in the moment, I'm going to regret this, but I literally can't not be like, I have so much to do. And that's like a little bit radical for me to do. Like, thank goodness. Do you have advice when you ever still feel that pang? Do you overcome it? I mean, I know no one's perfect or like always being like, I'm going to dive in and cuddle forever. But like, do you recognize it? Is there any like tool you have?
Well, so my 14-year-old boy still was like, Mom, will you lay with me? And every time he says that, I'm like, say yes, because he's not going to ask for much longer.
You
like,
remind
just
yourself.
fucking say yes. And I literally have a mantra like, say yes. It's not happening forever. And my daughter's 11 and I know she'll get tweeny on me. And so now I'm just like, yes, I'll cuddle with you. I mean, there's obviously nights where I'm like, you guys, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Go the fuck to sleep.
Right.
Like, please.
Yeah.
But now whenever they ask, I'm like, yep. I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll do it. I'll
like
do
the
it.
radical,
and I'll stay up late to finish work or whatever it takes.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of this. Can you tell us what you're up to now and where you would want people to find you besides in stores? Yeah, what's ringing most true to you right now?
Well, you can find me, the brand at Rebecca Minkoff. My personal handle is at Becky Minkoff, where I share just another slice of myself. You can buy my book anywhere books are sold, Fearless, and listen to my podcast, Superwomen with Rebecca Minkoff. As for what's coming next, do I have anything? We have a big female founder retreat happening in 2 weeks in Mexico.
Amazing.
That's another like, oh, I'm so sad to leave you guys, but I'm going to be in Mexico with 50 other women.
That's such a great,
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's that. And then, my Super Bowl was September. So like the rest of the year outside of like normal business is pretty calm.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for listening today on We Didn't Turn Out Okay.